Hello everybody and welcome to episode 55 of Competitive Magic with the Carnies. I say 55, but you might have thought that last week was 53, so there's one missing because our very own Anthony Lee from Australia made a special episode, a deep dive on standard Golgari Mid-range that you can listen right now, and it's gonna be, I'm sure, full of knowledge. I still hadn't had the chance. I look forward to a lot. Anthony Lee from Australia is right here on the podcast. Anthony, do you want to sum up a little bit to us what was this episode and what the listeners are looking for?
Okay, so naturally the main focus is that I'm talking about the Golgari mid-range deck list that we played, and that's obviously going to be relevant for anybody who's playing standard right now, such as on Arena. But I also wanted to make it more broadly useful, so I also tried to talk a lot about cards that we tried that didn't quite make the cut there, but could be good going forward, including for the next season of Standard, and as we know, the next RCQ season is Standard. So I tried to think about the possible directions that this deck could go in and talked a bit about that, and I tried to talk about the deck in a way that is somewhat illustrative of the way that me and Javier tend to see deck building and Magic in general. So I think if you're interested in Magic theory generally or deck building, then I think maybe you could get something out of this, even if you're not specifically interested in Standard right now or Golgari mid-range right now. So yeah, hopefully there's something for competitive players in this. And if you have any feedback, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. And also, in our podcast, there is, of course, Javier Dominguez from Spain, which
hello, everyone.
I usually introduce for second, but yeah, it was a special episode. It's definitely something very cool. I'm very glad Anthony, of course, top 4 worlds with this deck, Golgari Mid-range. Also, I noticed, Anthony, that while scrolling the video on the YouTube channel, there was an highlight about Questing Druid. Why did you talk about Questing Druid despite it's not in your deck? Did you consider
it was a card
guys?
it was a card that we thought about playing. It didn't make it because the mana didn't quite support it. I talk a bit more about why that's the case in the video, but it was a powerful card for sure. We were quite surprised by how good it was that it would be worth splashing just this one card alone. But it seems like maybe it's relevant outside Standard.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, this past weekend, I added a Questing Druid to Blue Red Murktide at the LMS in Sofia, and it was cool. It was great, and now I've seen so many people playing it. The card has definitely been very hyped. And, I've seen it a 4-row prelim with a slightly different take on my list, so I guess the format has been influenced by this card, and I look forward to see a lot more about it. So, yeah, this weekend I played a deck that I labeled Timor Adventures. I want to know your opinions on naming decks, because, it's easy. You guys made the Golgari deck, that's a mid-range, and you called it Golgari mid-range, but when I thought about adding Questing Druid to Blue Red Murktide, I was literally given the option now. How do I call this deck? Do I call it Timor Murktide? I even cut Murktides. I don't play Murktide anymore. So I called it Timor Adventure, despite I only have 4 Questing Druid, 1 Borrower, and 1 Bone Crusher Giant.
Well, think about it this way. You have 6 adventures and 4 of the other cards. So it's the card that has more population in your deck.
Yeah. I mean, if it's okay to call, is it Murktide when it only has 4 Murktides, and clearly it's fine to call...
Or 3,
Team
or even
Adventures.
2 sometimes.
Yeah. So why can't we call this Team Adventures? You have 6 adventures. 6 is so many. I mean, really, I would prefer it if we just called this mid-range, but, that's fine too.
I feel like this deck could be called Timor Murktide even without the Murktide, because it's very similar to the Delver deck in Legacy, where you don't even have the Delver's decks anymore, and you still call it Delver. Just because it's an archetype, like the when you think about Murktide.
But the archetype is a mid-range archetype. Why don't we
wait. Why I was assuming calling It's a Delver is actually like a good name, where Delver
it's
is
not even good. Yeah.
Like a filler at its best, and whenever they have good cards, they cut Delvers. That would be another issue, like a different issue.
Yeah. In fact, right now the legacy deck is called maybe Timur Murktide or Blue Murktide too. But yeah, so anyway, naming decks aside, we don't have the Cephalid Breakfast names anymore, or
Thank goodness.
I'm glad the name stuck though. It's 2023 and the name is still there.
Yeah,
that's a win.
Okay,
that's a big
okay,
win.
Boomer.
Yeah, so
it's still
regardless of all of that, this deck was very good for me. I had a blast playing it. I definitely recommend to anyone who enjoys playing Murktide Regent or just that strategy to try this deck out, to pick up the Questing Druid, because they're rising in definitely, so make sure to have it and add it to this deck because it's fantastic. And yeah, so I had a blast playing this deck. You have no free matchups. You just sit down, whatever opponent deck is on, you don't mind it too much. This is like exactly the type of deck I enjoy playing it in an open field, such as Modern. And of course, I built it with the Cascade Beans deck in mind. So I loaded on Spell Pierce, Spell Snare, and I even had Annul, which was a card that overperformed the most. Javier, have you ever played with the card or like seen it played in Modern?
I don't think so. Maybe we did some point, but I'm not sure. I think we actually did for some.
We've like, played it before. I know we've played it before, but like
yeah, but I don't remember
not
where.
much. Very, very little. I mean, we might have played it in like Shadow
KCI,
or something.
I think in the KCI area we played one on the sideboard on the SK or something.
I think we had one in Shadow for a little bit.
Yeah, also maybe Shadow. Like it's been a fringe playable card, but I mean, I guess it's fringe also here. But it was not in my radar. That's definitely a very good way to punish the Cascade decks. Like UP3
yeah,
mana.
So I was thinking that I just want as many 1 mana interaction as possible so that you can go like on turn 2 channel or hold up something for the turn 3 Cascade Bean. And yeah, Annul just had so many applications for me. I countered from Tron. I countered like Vermcoil Engine actually with it against Yendrek in the... there was like such a key turn where he thought I was bluffing. I thought I was holding Spell Pierce, but actually didn't have anything. And then at some point, I drew Annul, and he goes, okay, now finally he draws the 6th land at some point, plays it untapped, and plays the 1 ring to play around Spell Pierce, and actually have Annul with just 1 mana up. And that was
pretty good.
Yeah. That was so good because actually like nobody played around it all the time. Whenever I played Annul, people was like, oh wow. But if you think about it, the 4 color decks have Binding, Shardless, and by that I mean Up the Beanstalk and Up the Beanstalk, and the other one also has the 1 ring, and then you have Amulet, which this card counters the 1 ring and also counters Dryad. So I was like super
also
impressed
Hammer,
by this.
like there's a lot of applications for this card. It's actually looks good at Mango. I think.
Yeah, and so I was very happy with it. I didn't have it, so I had to ask a friend of mine to bring me 2. He brought me the Kaldheim one. Yeah, because I already left when I thought about it, and now I have my Urza's Legacy one at home, so I'm gonna play them next time.
Saga, I think.
That was a Saga. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah, overall, super happy about this deck. I already wrote a very detailed article on Channel Fireball that you guys can go read. So, there's a bunch of answers that people normally ask me, like why don't I play Murktide Regent? Or why did I cut Tarmogoyf? Or how's the matchup against Scam? And like all these things. Overall, I went 3-1 against the Scam in the main event. And then between all the matches I've played with the deck, I went 3-0 against the Cascade Beans, but 0-2 against the 4-color Brennan 6 Omnat. So I would say that the Cascade Beans deck is a good matchup for this deck, but the one with, Brennan 6 Ring and also Chalice of the Void post sideboard is very annoying. Yeah, so very happy with the deck. I know that me, Javier, and Anthony, you guys tried to help me deciding what to play because I was very much undecided, and I was like, yeah, just kind of like came up with this deck on Thursday, and the tournament was on Saturday, so I guess it was challenging to submit such a deck.
Well, it went fairly well, right? Like you did a good result. You also had fun. I mean,
Yeah.
you, you,
The
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
the tournament overall was great as always. These tournaments are always very well run, a ton of judges, and despite there wasn't that many people this time, the metagame was also super diverse with scamming for color being the most popular decks on day one, but actually for color converted pretty poorly with only six for color on day two. Scam was there, two scam in the top eight. They both lost the quarters, and two more in the top 16, but not a huge amount. And then everything else was just basically a one-off. The two mono white hammer decks made the day two. They both top eighted, Company and Cassini, and the winner was Carmine Daniello on mono black offers. The coolest deck, the newest thing for sure from the whole top eight was by far this Calibrated Blast by Valentin Roman, which I don't know if you guys know this, but this deck is super cool. So this is a brew that I've seen on Spike stream and maybe where Valentin got his idea. I don't know how many things he changed from there. So what you have, it's a zoo deck with Tertiary Cavu, Sign of Draco, as well as Leyline Binding and Up the Beanstalk. But you also have a package with Calibrated Blast. So what does this card do? It's an instant that reveals cards from the top of the deck until you find the null land, and then you shoot any target, I believe. So ideally, you play this card with like Emrakul, Autochthon Worm, Shadow of Mortality, and such. What this deck does is you discard with a Territorial Cavu or Fable of the Mirror Breaker, a Shadow of Mortality or a Sign of Draco, and then you use the land Witch's Cottage, which is the swamp from the cycle of Thrones of Eldraine, and you put the thing on top, and then with the Calibrated Blast, you shoot for 15. And I actually heard a story. A friend of mine was playing against this deck. On turn 4, he just did Cavu, attacked for 5, discarded the Shadow of Mortality, and killed him. He was playing Amulet. He didn't expect that at all. And it was like, what just happened, because he was thinking about how to combo off with Amulet in the next turn, and then he just died from 20 life. So that was, and again, this player just didn't play a league of Magic Online where just pretty brew. He played like a €100 tournament with 15 rounds, and he made all up to the top 8. So it takes courage to register such a deck, and takes skill to get it to the top 8. So yeah, that was cool to see.
it also takes a skill to build those decks. Like, I mean, with this deck, the Beanstalk, whatever. I mean, this Spring Spike factory of decks seems to be like very well built. Like, I don't know if this is a different deck or just Valentin just made a deck, but as I understood, it was like a Spike deck. The thing that's I don't know, it's just like he gets the ideas and then just makes them into actual decent decks. Also, the white red deck with the Forbidden Champions or whatever, that deck was almost okay. It was not great, but almost okay for like what idea was, right? I think we keep seeing like functional decks,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Another-
impressive. I think that there
Yeah.
must be like a very good debugging work there.
Another Spike idea was the Cascade Shardless Agent into Up the Beanstalk, which is a very popular deck right now and one of the most popular deck on the tournament. Of course, many different deck decision, but if we're looking at the top 16, Alessandro Parisi, 4-color Omnath, we see a very similar shell to the one that Spike originated. There are a couple of things I really like about Parisi's deck list, and one of them is the technology that you had, Javier, in your 4 Prelim with the core Firewalkers in the sideboard, so that you side out the Beanstalk, you bring in the Firewalker to have a better matchup against Burn. But we also have the Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, to win the mirror match rather than the Endurance. What do you think? Do you prefer Endurance or you like the Jace idea?
Well, I mean, this is a deck that can be improved a lot. Like I said last week or the other 2 weeks ago, like I think a scam is actually hard to improve right now. Like it is variable build. This deck, I mean, obviously it's like a good version or whatever, but there's a lot of room to improve here. And if you change one card to make the deck better, the impact can be massive because you see so many cards every game. That said, it isn't clear. I defaulted to Endurance over Jace just because when things go south, is it when things go wrong? Yeah, like when things go wrong.
South.
Yeah, Endurance is like a blocker, like you can ambush Ragadans or whatever. And most importantly, it's I didn't think of Jace, by the way, but I went for Endurance because I wanted a way to win the mirror match that was okay against Ragavan decks, and I think Jace doesn't do that. However, Jace has one big upside, which is that's for Commandeer, because the blue count is actually kind of rough to up. Like, it's not easy to get blue cards that are good. He's already playing 4 Omnaths, and it's very hard to play enough blue cards without playing too many Lorien reveals. So I also Jace being blue is the biggest upside, but also like against interactive decks like a control, for example, where Endurance is like pretty bad, like actively bad. Jace is actually like a threat they have to deal with, or it will threaten to run away with the game, right? And I think that's maybe what makes it better. I think it's close, but I will have to play with Jace to decide. I mean, obviously, it's not easy to know without games, but I would default towards Endurance just because the Blood Moon thing. Like, you want to get a forest anyway, because with one elf is different. I was playing with 2 or 3 elves. You're going to get the forest often anyway, and with one forest, you can already cast the Endurance often, so you don't have to fetch too much around Blood Moon. But Jace is going to be very bad against a Scam. Also, Scam is one of the few decks where I felt like I needed to actually Endurance. Like, I think I have not decked myself yet with the deck, but 2 or 3 times I had like 1 card or 0 cards in my library, and it was against a Scam most of them. So I think having a good card against a Scam there is maybe good. So, but I think it's an interesting idea, and definitely something like the Dead Gone also like very interesting. That could be the way to go.
Yeah, I practiced with Alessandro a little bit, and I was mentioning how I wanted some more turn 1 interaction for Ragavan, as much as you also tested against Tron, and he just crushed me with this 4 Commandeer, 4 Obsidian Charm sideboard. Yeah, there was... it's actually interesting to look at the metagame that happened in this tournament. So 4-color came in as the second most popular deck, but only 6 4-color made the top 8. A horrible conversion rate. And then at the same level, there was Tron, which was... there's not too many Tron, and 42% of them made day 2, so the best conversion rate deck. Although, if you look at the top 25, you don't see any Tron. So this is some like very, very interesting stats that I just wanted to bring it to the viewers. And I don't know if you guys have any opinion on that, but I just feel like this already happened in the previous LMS in Bologna. And it's kind of like, what's the word? Like, it happens over and over. That is something that, for Color Omnath, is overplayed. It actually doesn't perform well in long tournaments, because maybe it's not a very good deck. And Tron preys on it day 1, beats it, and then gets to day 2, and there's no more 4-color Omnath to prey on, and loses. So,
right,
I feel like...
Yeah, that's the concept of the winner's metagame, but kind of the reverse, right?
The loser's metagame, Anthony?
The loser's metagame, yeah.
So you go 3-3 and you're the best, Omnath, It's all biased.
I guess so.
I mean, fun,
yeah. I assume when you said made top 8, you meant day 2. So only 6 Omnath decks made day 2. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, sorry for that.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty
Omnath in the top 25.
Pretty damning, I would say. I mean, yeah, I think we've talked before about why we don't think these 4-color decks are very good. I think those things hold true, but they're even more true now that people are building around the Beanstalk so much. I just don't think this is a sound way to attack the modern format. The Beanstalk card is very good, but doesn't really change anything to do with the weaknesses of the 4-color deck. And now you continue to really crush every deck that you're good against, because you have lots of card drawing and creature removal in your deck. But every time creature removal isn't good, your deck just doesn't play. Like, it's slow and doesn't have relevant interaction. So you just can't beat decks like Burn or Tron or Amulet or, this Coffers deck that's in, So, I mean, I don't think this is what 4-color was looking for, and yeah, I just think the deck's fundamentally not sound. Like, I think you just can't be a slow deck that also doesn't have broad interaction. Yeah. So, I don't know, it's kind of wild to me, because people were talking about how maybe we should ban up the Beanstalk, and I don't think this deck is good.
Well, when was the first time you took the people once things banned serious in your life, Anthony?
Well, basically never, but this is quite extreme, because this is like, sometimes I think, well, we shouldn't ban this card. I mean, it's a good card, but I don't think it's too good. This is the case of people saying we should ban this card, and I think I don't even think it's good. Like, I don't think it's a playable deck. I don't think the card is very good. I mean, the card's good, but it's not fixing anything. So, I couldn't see myself registering that card in a tournament, absent very unusual circumstances. Right? We could, of course, we can construct a meta game where it makes sense, but it's just hard for me to believe.
I mean, it's hard to play that
in
deck.
The reality of modern being,
from my perspective,
broad
the
format.
Beanstalk Cascade deck is actually a little bit of a better version than the normal one. I don't know like how much better I feel it is, but I think it's better. Just like also like it's a little bit less flexible, but you can get like 8 pieces from the sideboard. Also, like you said, like the burn matchup wasn't winnable or whatever. And I mean, for example, once you put the two Core Walkers on the sideboard, the matchup becomes better against burn, right?
Yeah.
What if you do the same with Torpor Orbs and Amulet? Because I was playing, for example, the Curse Totem against Yamamoth, and you just kill them. Like, this is an angle you can also exploit, making use Cascade effects better. I think there's a lot to explore in the archetype. I was just impressed by how good the Up the Beanstalk is with elementals. I agree it doesn't shave the issues, the structural issues with the deck, because it doesn't. But if it gives you enough power, I mean, this is like normal deck building theory, whatever, right? Like, if something gives you enough deck power on your core, you can invest more resources solving the actual issues. So if the Cascade deck becomes good enough by itself, like in a core, then you can actually solve the issues then. So I think that's what I will be looking for.
I think that has to be couched in some kind of proactive plan, which this deck doesn't have, because this deck just never has a high default level against any deck, because the entire conceit of the deck is conditional. So, I mean, I can buy that if the deck was proactive, and then something that you did made your deck more offensively good, and then you can try to patch up your errors, but your weaknesses. Yeah, I don't think that applies if your whole deck is answers.
Yeah. It's definitely like also a situation where the answers can be win conditions. So that's why like I'm not sure cards like Omnath are actually like that good, and that's why ideally the deck will need to have one more answer that can actually end the game. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely I'm not solving modern in a minute. I'm just saying like okay. The way I want to say it is the normal 4-color deck is drawing dead to solve the issues you're pointing out. I think it's doomed.
Yes.
I think this one it might be able to do it. Okay. Like it's not as doomed as the other one is. I guess this is
you can see a way in which you can. There's potential here because what you do has some kind of unfair element to it. Like you can see how Shadow's Agent could make something change these deck's problems. Whereas with the stock 4-color deck, it's like what could they do really? Yeah, okay, I can buy that.
Some more interesting data from the event are the presence of Golgari Yawgmoth and Ardent Scales as the 3rd and 4th most popular deck, and they converted pretty well. There's one of each in the top 8, one of each in the top 16, so these decks are definitely presence. You should definitely, think about them. The fact that they're supposed to be bad against Scam doesn't stop them, so I guess they're not that bad against. Yawgmoth. Of course, Scales is good against Scam. I confused with. I confused myself with Leaving Again, which is another deck. So yeah, I was mentioning how like Golgari, Yawgmoth, and Leaving Again, which is another deck that's supposed to be bad against Evoke, and while it didn't do very well in Sofia, it dominated the Mana Trader series, which was a 400 people tournament, where the winner. Mattias Leverato with Living End and also second place. They're both playing Living End. So, despite the deck is supposed to be bad against Scam, it's still, if it wins the tournament, it means that it definitely had to beat some Scam along the way. And very powerful strategies again, like Yawgmoth. I believe, Javier, you 4-0'd the prelim with Yawgmoth last week. How come?
Yeah, I mean, I just went to play with like a friend. There's like this local community here in my town. They play Commander or whatever, and I just went there. to chill and playing some games with the scam against a friend with Jammoth. And I was like, that's kind of fun. Looks fun. I played a little bit of the deck some months ago. So I just went home the day after and just completely randomly built a version of the deck. Which afterwards someone copied. I think the money won the challenge.
Yeah, the money tutor won the challenge with your list.
Yeah, but it's just like I literally just like put random cards. I wanted to play Hapatra. I wanted to try one Fulminator. Like I don't know. I just like yeah. But I also like this ring and this kind of like my friend was like, I think the ring is maybe better, but maybe the card is better. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try one of each because what could go wrong? And yeah.
And what do you say is better, the ring or the chorus?
I have an idea. Like, okay. I actually played the problem to get like attached with Hagatha's Cauldron and how the card worked, and I just never got. I just always went like win the die roll, creature, jam off turn 3 or whatever, win the game. Like I just never used the cyber cards or anything. I just drew wolves, elves, and Yawmoths every game or something. Like I don't remember much. Yeah, I just didn't learn much.
I think the Cauldron is definitely what's making the Yawgmoth and the Ardent skills very good. Like, as I played my blue-red deck, I lost to Cauldron every time I resolved. It makes, like, everything into a halfling, and halfling is a huge problem for me. It makes everything into a grist, and just kind of lose when that happens. So, I feel like the Cauldron is definitely what's making the Yawgmoth and the Ardent skills just much better than they were before the last set.
I still looking forward to have a grist in the Cauldron at Battleful, so I actually learn the physics of it. Don't spoil me, I will learn eventually.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Alright guys, how about we completely change topic, because as we're recording this, Wizards of the Coast is previewing cards no stop from the new set, Caverns of Ixalan. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me actually going through it 2 minutes ago. This last week, it's spoilering Bartolome del Presidio. Oh, it's in Italian. Oh no.
Well, what's funny thing is we actually did the podcast, but unfortunately, finally, we've been talking for a long time that one day we will miss an episode because software issues or whatever. So it happened today, but the second try, we actually just timed into the spoilers right away. So I'll say
it was really lucky. We didn't even know.
This was fine.
Yeah. So a bunch of cards. I guess we can go through them. Oh, the reprinted treasure map. This is from the Ixalan, from the original Ixalan.
Oh, hello.
I remember this.
All right, Mengu. For cultural reasons, I will be the one pronouncing the names. I think this time. Do you agree?
Yeah, fair.
Well, del Presidio, isn't this Italian?
Well, this is Spanish. Bartolomé del Presidio is definitely Spanish. I mean, also the set Ixalan is like Spanish. I mean, like Mezzo. I don't know the name. Like the culture.
There are some Spanish influences in the vampire cards. I think,
like the names. They speak the same language. Yeah, so I think this is Bartolomé del Presidio.
Okay, nice. All right, what about these? We got 5 cards right here. Javier, do you want to read them all?
Well, the other ones you can read. They are non-Spanish names.
Spyglass Siren, 1 mana, 1/1 flying. When enters the battlefield, you make a map token. Wait, what's a map token?
A map token is an artifact that you can tap and pay 1 to have target creature explore.
Okay, so it's like half of a clue?
That's not... Well,
I guess we can read it here. Oh yeah, it's here. It's an artifact that has exactly what Anthony said, but, tap 1, tap, sacrifice this artifact. Okay, so you can draw a land or make a counter.
This card is actually not bad, right? It's like a blue Flamin Inspector.
Ooh, look at the green one.
Well, I'm still in the blue.
Okay, I was just excited to see. Remember Merfolk?
We read from left to right, not like left to forward.
Oh, maybe they read right to left in Italy, I don't know.
Oh, maybe they read randomly ordered.
I just saw the green one, and I thought about Merfolk Branchwalker and all the memories
of
how the Carnies were born.
No, that's true, actually. Yeah, that is where the Carnies came from.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. So that...
Wait, this is a good card also. This is good. The green one.
The 1 mana 1/1 explores? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, Anthony wanted us to play like 2 mana 1/2 explorer, so...
What? No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I wanted to play 0/3. You wanted to play the 1/2.
Even worse.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever.
0/3.
It was not even worse.
True.
It was way better.
This is good. All right, what else is here?
Okay,
So far,
look at
two cards, two good cards.
Look at the deep cavern bot that goes straight into my cube. It's a 2-mana 1/1 flying lifelink, and then it has the brain
Tributo.
bot ability.
It's kind of like Kai'Sa Freebooter,
No,
right?
Yeah,
no, it's not, because it says no land.
Yeah,
It's
so you
even
can take
better than
creatures.
Kai'Sa
Yeah.
Freebooter.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
good. I mean, these cards are all good. Are they commons?
Well, they're
No, they're
uncommon.
uncommon.
So they're the
They're
promo
good
pack
uncommons,
uncommons.
though. Okay.
So they
seem like
specifically
all
pick
these-
ones that are
yeah.
nice.
These 3 cards seem like constructed playable cards.
Wait till you read
No.
the middle one.
Mhm.
All right.
Nah, it's a
Discover.
4-drop. We don't want to read it.
No,
I
what's
think the
Discover?
keyword
Mango.
is one that I think you might care about.
Could be Cascade, right?
Oh, so
it has to be Cascade.
It's a 4-mana. It's a 4-mana 3/2.
Yeah.
Comes into play, you discover 3. So discover is another mechanic that says exile from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost. Oh wait, it's Cascade?
Wait, still the
Yeah.
Cascade?
It's
No.
Cascade.
Why will they bring
No.
Cascade?
Well,
so this is Blood
they
Red
saw
Elf
that
without
people really
haste.
like Cascade cards, so now we're printing some more Cascade cards. So,
Do they? Well, it's actually Cascade.
wow.
No.
well, it's very similar to
No.
Cascade, except it's not necessarily connected to the card's mana cost. In this case, it is, but it's just whatever Discover is. So, presumably some cards will have different Discover numbers, so they could cascade into bigger cards, perhaps.
Imagine if they make a 2-mana card with Discover, so you can Cascade on turn 2 now.
Well, they might. Who
yes.
knows?
I assume they won't not because they know Cascade is legally modern. Like that would be weird.
Well, I mean, if there's a problem with modern, they can just ban it. So, like, I think
Well-
that shouldn't really affect how they design cards for.
Well, but I
sets in
think
general.
I mean, it's not very easy to design a card with Discover 2 without no one
That's
saying
true,
anything
yeah.
like, hey, this will just break modern turn 1 Rhinos, whatever, you know?
But maybe
like-
you'll get some better Cascade enablers then. Like, for example, you see Shardless Agent and Ardent Please sometimes. Like in Gul'Dakat's 4-color
Yeah.
Rhinos.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
you
you
can
get
play
another
something with
3 mana.
text. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is basically Blood-Bright Elf without haste. This is a standard
yeah.
legal playable card, yeah.
There's another interesting implication of this in that it lets you put it into your hand. So, Cascade cards generally don't play well with counterspells or a lot of reactive
Okay.
spells,
Hmm.
and this doesn't exclude those, right?
So
Oh,
it's better than
wow.
Cascade. Yeah, it's actually so it's better than Cascade. So this card is not necessarily worse than Elf because this one you can play
Yeah.
with counterspell, for example.
Yeah,
Okay, that I mean
Or
those are
even just-
4
that's
very,
a big
very good
implication,
cards.
right? Like suddenly these
Or-
spoilers might be spoilers that matter for mod. That's pretty wild. That
I
doesn't normally happen.
remember. Yeah, I remember Bloodbird Elf sometimes was awkward in standard with removal spells. Like you
Yeah,
cast it
yeah.
on empty. Like you couldn't cast it on empty board. I remember.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
card's not trivial. It might be better. Like at least it's compatible. Like we don't know if it's better or not, but definitely like losing haste obviously also cost, but also 1 color. Okay. Well, now I want to read the Bartolome. Bartolome Sack. Well, that's
Sacrifice.
good also.
These cards are wow.
They are all very
So
good.
this one on it.
If you remember,
Okay.
the
Wow.
the original
Yeah.
Ixalan was pretty underpowered.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to make up for that, I guess. Oh yeah, so here,
Wow,
yeah, you see
yeah.
that card discovers 10, right? But the card only costs.
Yeah, 7 mana,
7.
discover 10, whatever.
Wow, this doesn't look like very
X and a
competitive card.
green. When comes into play, X and a green 1/1. When comes into play, it explore X times. So this
Oh well,
is
now this is a Merfolk
on base.
Branchwalker, huh?
a 2 mana. No, Branchwalker was a 2/1. This is a 1/1.
Cost 2 mana
but-
is for 1, right? It's
And also Jailer Ranger was 3 mana, 2/1. This is would be a
yeah, this
3
scales
mana.
though. This is this
Yeah,
this is definitely similar to those. It's probably more similar to Jaded Ranger than it is to the Branchwalker.
yeah,
right?
maybe that's probably actually.
discard it.
Like you pay 5
This card is
mana, you
great.
explore 4 times. 4 times is. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be great, but I mean, it's.
I mean, you guys,
We will have
you
played
guys
this in
played
Golgari. Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys played the 3 mana 3/4. You know the what's it called?
Yeah, no,
The
it's better than the other
Sea
2 drops. we have
Sentinel
for Golgari.
of the Lost Lore,
Well, that card was
even
good.
Gleason.
kind of
actually.
sick.
or even Glissa.
That- I mean,
That card's also
better
sick.
than Glissa.
Do you think Gliss is bad? Have you
No,
played
I'm
against
just saying-
Glissa as
The
like?
3-drop you didn't name is the one that I think is the worst one. Graveyard Trespasser is.
Yeah, that one
Like
is the
the
worst.
filler,
Glissa
yeah.
is actually. I mean, we played 3 Glissa for a reason. Like, it's a legendary creature that does not has haste or comes into play. That's how good it is.
Wow.
Well, this card is good. These
Yeah.
definitely good, happy news for Golgari aficionados. What else? Click on the cards. We don't know any of the cards.
Well, those
Let's
are
talk about
reprints. He was looking for new cards here, you know.
Okay.
We don't want to click on Chalice of
Yeah.
the Void and be
Oh,
like, wow, this
that's a
card-
Quintorius whatever. That's not.
You just
that's
skipped the Planeswalker. What are you doing, Mango?
Mengu.
Wait, what's the planes? Oh, Quintorius canned.
I think
Wow.
he also scrolled through other cards that were not prints.
So this is a planeswalker with a static ability of when it's a cost 5, 3, red, white, loyalty 4. Whenever you cast a spell from the exile, Quintorius deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. +1, you make a 3/2 spirit token without flying. -3, discover 4. So you look at you review a card from the top of the deck. If you find a 4-drop or less, you cast it. And then -6, exile any number of target cards from your graveyard. You either Ooh, this is Tibalt Cosmic Imposter ability.
Kinda.
No,
from
this turn
yours,
only. This turn only.
Oh, this turn only. Okay, so it's like a very
this
small one.
turn.
There's
Yeah,
a
it
very
doesn't
big
sound-
difference.
Whatever.
I mean,
I think
this
that's
card
what-
is maybe very good, though, right? Imagine just playing this, just play this card, play it for the wedding announcement. You know, it's potential. I mean, it seems playable.
That's 5.
I mean, I don't think hitting a wedding announcement is a very good example because that just sounds like a bad version of Elspeth,
Yeah. I guess so,
which
yeah.
is a card that no one plays.
Yeah, it seems like appropriately powerful for standard, though. Like, same way as
Yeah,
Elspeth
I mean,
is.
for me,
Yeah.
if Quintorius is good, it's because you're doing something incredible with the static ability. Like you're playing multiple, you can play like adventure cards or multiple cards of Seek the
Or,
Beast,
like, Pia.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I want to untap with this and like deal them like 8 damage or something, right?
Well,
that's when I think
the
it's
same
good.
deck. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think, yeah. Yeah,
Which-
but
maybe
it,
the
it
card's
seems like
great.
a playable card, yeah. Okay, what does this do? 6 drop.
All right, let's go through the next one. Roger Tag,
Roger Tag.
Deepest Foundation. It's a 6-mana mythic rare, 6/6 vigilance.
It's a god.
It's a god. If
So that
one or
only
more
means there's
tokens would be...
gods enough colors.
Yeah, that means there's a god for... But it's not too good, right? It costs 6, it's a 6/6 vigilance. If a token would be created, you make 3 times those tokens. And when it dies, you return it transformed. And on the backside, it's a land that adds white mana or says tap 3 tap and you transform it back to the god. So it's kind of unkillable, but of course you can exile it.
It doesn't look it doesn't look like a constructed card.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is...
But it's a
Probably
cycle, I
too.
believe. Maybe the
Could
other
be,
ones
yeah.
would be good.
Yeah, let's see other cards. But that card, maybe why are you skipping the
These are all
cards?
reprints. Javier,
What's
stop,
this?
stop.
Ah, okay.
These are all reprints. But these are...
We don't see the screen as well as you do, I think.
Abuelo! Ooh.
Abuelo.
How,
Yeah.
that's such a funny name.
It's so
for-
strange.
I mean, abuelo, okay,
to read
abuelo is
ab-
a Spanish word for grandfather. We also use it as
Grandfather.
like old people or whatever, but it's just like the normal word for grandfather. Like, mi abuelo is my grand. Like, yeah, it's a normal word in Spanish.
It's like they just named the card Grandpapa or whatever. Like,
Well,
somebody-
it's literally called
Like-
grandpa. Like,
yeah, like, what kind of
it's-
name?
It's not like they. It's like that's the name of the creature.
Anyway,
These
you
have a
can
lot.
read the text,
These have a
Mango.
lot of text.
Yeah, read the text.
It's not that much
Javier,
text,
it
come
says
on.
abuelo. You must read it. Sorry.
Abuelo.
You-
Yeah, ancestral.
you said it at the beginning.
Echo.
Echo,
Abuelo.
yep.
Yes, abuelo.
Okay, so
Ancestral
3
Echo.
mana, 1 white, blue, 2/2 flying war 2, and you pay 1 white, blue. You exile another target creature or artifact you control, and you... So basically it just blinks. It pays 3, and you blink an artifact or a creature.
Right, it returns at the beginning of the next end step. It's not an immediate.
Okay,
Return.
okay, Flicker Wisp.
I mean, it doesn't look great in the stats, but you know, like it's you can use it a few times. You can use it like multiple times every turn or whatever. Not the same creature, but like this might be a little bit of a displacer thing where it doesn't look like a very good card, but it is actually. I think this has potential. It has like surely some good synergies, and this has to be like a nightmare to play against unlimited. Like you don't kill it. Good luck killing a creature like in combat or whatever. I think this looks decent, right? It's a spirit also for the spirit deck.
Their spirit, yeah, flying ward 2. Like that's like not a terrible stat line. Like if it's actually useful, then it's actually not that easy to deal with. Profitably, at least. Feels like there must be something you can do with this ability.
Yeah, I mean, there's the classic Elvis Visionary.
Well, there's another.
surely-
There are
Whoa.
definitely other artifacts
This
from the
reminds
set
me
that
of,
are good to blink.
Eldrazi Displacer. Eldrazi Displacer reminds me.
Well, it's not. Displacer was like immediately. No,
right,
Yeah, this
immediately.
thing
It
also
was immediately, and
it
you
targets
tap it.
artifacts too, right? Which
Yeah.
might be a significant difference.
are there artifacts that are good to blink?
There are in this set.
There are the
Uh-huh.
maps.
Well, no, you don't want to blink maps. That would just No, just
No.
that's just ripping up your map. I don't know. Maybe we'll see
well-
it when we scroll down a bit more.
You know something I don't know.
All right, so and then we have
Well, one of
Sahili,
them
the
seems
Sun's
decent.
Brilliance, which is a mythic rare, blue and a red, and it has the ability of the Sahili Planeswalker from Word of Spark, I believe, which is blue and red tap. You create a copy of another target creature or artifact, except it's an artifact, and it gains haste, and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
Man, so if you had another artifact that was good to copy, then both of these cards would be good with that, huh?
It's a reflection of the Mirror Breaker for 2 mana. You think what this is, kinda?
Oh. Well, that's another way of putting it, I suppose.
Well, now it looks better, right?
Well, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, like if you put it as a reflection of the Mirror Breaker instead of like as a heli, it's like, ooh, it's much better.
Yeah, this card does seem like it might be powerful.
I mean, this is playable just based on how good the reflection of the Mirror Breaker is, right?
I'm not sure what you're meant to do with it exactly. I feel like there must be something specific. Because this thing doesn't do the thing that Reflection did where if you had to, it went off. But Reflection was still pretty powerful.
You can copy Harvester.
Yeah, we're in the right color. Oh my god, we're in the right color combination for Blood Type Harvester and Corpse Appraiser. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm in.
You can copy Harvester. I mean, this card's good. Like, I don't know how good it is, but definitely, if you play like a Reese's Midrange in Standard, you can just play 2 copies of this card, and it will deliver, I would say.
Nice. And then we have...
And then
What
and
else?
then we have Malcolm. Which is a
What is with these
2
names?
mana 2-1 flash flying, which is a looter. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you put a counter on it, and then you draw and discard. And then if there are 4 more counters on it, you may cast the discarded cards.
That's pretty good, right? Isn't that like Vintage Cube playable almost?
I mean, we
Maybe?
have a Suspicious Stowaway and Looter Core. That's all vintage.
Yeah,
play.
isn't this better than Luthering Core? And this has to be
Yeah, I
better.
mean, having flash and flying is 2 ability, 2 good abilities.
Yeah, and to 1.
It's also a legendary, so, you know, it might work in a deck that's interested in playing flash creatures and also benefits from legends. Seems like good friends with Rafine, maybe.
Rona.
yeah,
It's similar to Rona.
I mean, more like I mean, this card seems good. I mean, all of these cards we've seen so far, except the 6 mana whatever god, they seem pretty good. But this card also, I mean, definitely very
Those are
constantly
commander cards.
playable. It burst bad against Takahashi, so maybe it's not a good for the reason.
Yeah, they're
but
just kind of awkward.
Oh, right.
more
Yeah.
reprints, I guess. This is
No, this is
Intrepid.
new.
Intrepid
Wow.
Paleontologist.
Oh, this starts very well.
1 and a green. Alright, 1 and a green, 2/2. Tap. Oh, wow. Add 1 mana of any color. And then
Okay, that's a good start.
you pay 2, and you exile a card from a graveyard. So it's like a Scavenging Ooze for 2. And then it says, you may cast dinosaur spells, creature spells from among cards you own in exiled. So if you exile a dinosaur from your graveyard, you may cast it.
Okay, well,
and it
this
comes to
is
play
this
with
is
a
good.
finality counter.
Yeah, that seems like a really powerful card. Like that's
This is a very good standard
Okay.
card, and also like it's a playable card its own. But if you have one very good dinosaur, like if there's only one very good dinosaur you play constructed, the abilities are already like very important. Like if it's you
yeah.
need
This
one.
it really doesn't require a lot before it's good. I mean,
Two
we
one
played
is
Bramble
enough.
Familiar, and like it's very easy for this to have higher upside than that card, right? Like
well,
very,
you need
very
one
easy.
dinosaur, but yeah. Oh,
I don't know.
it
Yeah,
has
you
to
might
be
need
good.
like I don't even know if you need a dinosaur. You know, because it adds mana of any color and like it has the graveyard hate ability. That might be better
Yeah.
than Fetch Quest, like for real, right?
I guess so. I mean, the Brown Familiar, the other side was also. I mean, I think with a dinosaur maybe not good enough, but I think one dinosaur just
Yeah,
puts
it's
it over the top.
close, I
easily.
think. Yeah, this seems like a great
This is-
card. Wow,
Another
is this
like,
like this?
all the cards are
It's
good.
not very often that we see spoiler season and be like, "Yep, that's a banger. That's a banger. That's a bang." Wow, because most of the time
Right,
we're just saying
now-
cards suck.
Command.
I'm
is
gonna
command,
assume
right?
the next one is bad. Just
No,
just
why
for
not?
variance.
Why? It's Confluence.
Just for variance. I don't know. All right, 5 mana, Cosmium, Confluence, Sorcery. Wow, choose 3. You may choose the same mode more
Yeah,
than
same as
once.
every
It's like what,
Confluence,
Mystic Confluence?
So it's it's
What
a
does it
confluence.
do? Search your library
It's the
for
name
a
confluence. Sorry. Okay.
Search your library for a cave card and put it on the battlefield top, then shuffle. So I guess we're gonna know what a cave card is soon.
Like a desert, probably.
Yeah,
You can put 3 +1/+1 counters on a cave, and they become a 0/0 land with haste. or destroy an enchantment.
Okay, but we just have no frame of reference for how good this card
Well,
is.
but it's like a 9. Well,
knowing-
but this is like a 9/9 haste. Or
Well, if
like
you have
a
3
Hour
caves, right?
Yeah,
But
like Hour of Discovery. Do you remember the Devastation card? Would you search for 2
Hour of
lands?
Promise, yeah.
Okay, these cards are so good. I'm thinking, is this the actual like draftable set, or this is like a commander set where all the cards are busted because all the cards are
What?
good?
No, yeah. This is the actual set. You can tell because this is LCI, right? And the set symbol is also different, so you can tell that if you're not looking at the set code, the set symbol is also easy to identify because all the commander ones have white in the center, so that's an
Oh, I
easy
didn't know
visual identifier as well. So
Okay.
it's pretty
I didn't
easy
even
to
know
tell.
that there was a. I didn't know there was a new standard set coming out soon. I thought the next one was the PT one
This
in
card.
February.
Nope,
Okay,
there's
this
a
is-
set in between. Did
this
you
is
really think
good.
there would just be no sets until February, Mango? Come on.
I mean, maybe like they had some like they had. I thought they had like the Lord of the Ring
It's a
part 2. I heard.
Mutable for
Nope.
2 mana.
All right, we have another land. It's a cave, uncommon, Cavernous Maw. You add the colorless, and then you pay 2. It becomes a 3/3 until end of turn. It's still a cave. Activate only if the number of other caves you control plus the number. What? Sorry. I need to focus. What does this say?
So
well,
if you
you
have
need to have 3 caves total, basically.
yeah between play and graveyard, so
Between play
maybe
and
some
graveyard.
caves are going to sacrifice themselves, but they still count.
There's like a
towards this.
payoff for
Oh.
caves. I mean, I think this reads as we might have like 1 colored caves that come into play in tap.
All right,
Seems like
let's
a
read it
minimal
out
type
loud.
of lands, right? That's how it looks. Like otherwise, they will have not. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it might. Might
Let's read it out loud for the people that are not watching. So it's 2 mana becomes a 3/3, and you can only do this if the number of caves you control are 3 or more between the play and the graveyard. Maybe they have like an Evolving Wilds that's a cave.
Yeah, that kind
maybe,
of thing.
yeah, maybe the Revolving Wilds gets, exactly. You say it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, there's a cycle of
Oh, I see.
rare. A rare
Well,
tapped.
they don't come to play in
Creature
tap, but they are
land.
kind of good.
No, it's not creature land.
So they
They do something though. So let's say the white one comes into play tap, add white, and for 5 you discover, or you sack this, and then you discover 4.
Yeah,
The
so
blue
they all do the
one-
same. They come in, they're rares, they come
Oh.
into play tap. They're like a place that comes into play tap. And 5 mana, sack it, so total 6, kinda. You just cascade
this
for
a-
4.
Espera. I don't think this is a rare. This looks like common.
Maybe they're uncommon. I don't see it well, it's your screen.
you can just
But-
check above the LCI. What does it say about that?
LCIN.
Oh, not above it.
Oh yeah, it's not a rare. It says L.
Well, I don't
It's
know.
not a
but they're
rare.
Cool.
Because otherwise it would have the thing. Anyway,
Interesting.
so yeah, these are commons. Okay. It's not.
Oh,
But
this might
they
be,
seem powerful. What? Like-
Yeah. Why is everything good?
Oh my
I'm
god,
just
Blossoming
kinda-
Tortoise is
yeah.
going to have,
Well, that's a
Blossoming
legendary
Tortoise has
archetype.
never eaten so well. Let's go.
Enigma Jewel. Okay.
All right, we have more.
Before
Mythic
reading the
rare
card,
for
it's gonna be
1B.
good or bad? What do you think?
It's gonna be
I think
good.
it's probably going to be bad.
I think it's gonna be bad.
Right,
Okay,
now
let's
let's read
read
it.
the card.
It's mythic rare that costs blue, and it's a legendary artifact, so it could be like the next Mox Opal. It comes into
Well-
play tapped,
Not Opal
and
already.
it, tap, add 2 mana. No, spend this ability only to activate abilities.
So
So
it's
it's not
Omen
actually a
Hawker?
soaring.
So it's non-creature Omen Hawker.
Yeah. Well,
Spend
Okay.
this mana to activate abilities, and then you craft. Wait,
Oh, I see.
explain it to the.
Okay, so
listeners.
craft is an ability where you can pay the mana cost and exile whatever the materials are you need to craft from play or from your graveyard, and that transforms the card. So they're all cards that transform with a cost that requires both mana and some number of cards. This one is probably on the high end because it requires 4 or more non-lands with activated abilities, but you can craft from your graveyard as well as from play. So remember that, I guess. 9 mana though, so this better be good.
And the backside has each activate ability of the exiled cards used to craft it.
Okay.
Wait, so can you
Hmm.
craft means that you exile from your graveyard?
You or play all your graveyard, okay, and then this card gains all of their abilities, and also copies them. Wow. Okay. I think it also counts
Okay.
itself. So, right, because presumably this is. I'm not sure if it includes this card, but I guess that doesn't matter a whole lot. That's so I don't think the backside of this card matters too much, but the front side, I don't know. Omen Hawker was always a card that had interesting potential, I think. So I'm not sure. What were we trying to? I mean, one of the best things we were doing with it before was Reckoner Bankbuster. That doesn't exist anymore. But it feels like there must be something. You can probably try to break this card. I just don't know how. That's an enigma.
Okay.
It's an enigma jewel.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue. We have the Spring-Loaded Saw Blades, which is a 1 and a white artifact flash. Enters the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, deals 5 damage to target tapped creature and opponent control. And then it has the ability you just mentioned, Craft with Artifact 4. So you pay 4, you exile this artifact, exile another artifact you control, or one from your graveyard, and you flip this. You return this flipped.
That's
and
interesting.
It's a vehicle.
Okay, well, let's not think of it as a vehicle. Let's think of it as a removal spell with upside. All right, so like you think about it, it's very similar to like a 2-mana instant that deals 5 to an attacking creature or whatever. This is kind of similar to that, right? Like target tapped creature. Sure, It's like not quite the same, but yeah. If you think about it as a removal spell that has the ability to flip into a vehicle, hey, it's not even just that, because something we've learned from a lot of cards is that game objects, just having game objects is really powerful, right? And we were just talking before about the ability to copy artifacts being good, right? So like the fact that this is not an instant, but as a permanent with a triggered ability means you can blink it, right? Maybe that's a big deal. Like, can you imagine playing against Abuelo with this card? Like, oh no, yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't stop you. They still get to hit you because Abuelo only returns during your end step. But this is probably a lot better than it looks. Well, which, to be fair, I mean, these cards are usually not constructed playable, but maybe this one is for that reason. That'd be interesting to find out.
All right, we got another mythic rare, the Miko Tyrant, 1 black green, trample, star. Power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi or saplings. At the beginning of your end step, you make X black fungus.
X1 black fungus creatures that can't block, so they're similar to rats. Where X is the number. Okay. So I guess this mechanic. Yeah, so this mechanic counts the number of times a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere. So I guess you could sacrifice permanents, but you could also mill yourself.
Okay, so let's say you go cat oven, tap the oven, suck the cat, suck the food, reanimate the cat, end of turn you make 2 fungus.
Yep, because it counts the cat and it counts the food.
But that seems like die when it comes into play.
No, it's a 1. Well, it itself is a fungus, so it's going to be a 1.
It counts itself. Okay.
This might be pretty powerful.
It's also majestic.
It's just so many different ways to.
Golgari Food was a deck.
Yeah, but like activating treasures or milling yourself or sacrificing permanents, like it just seems like it should be pretty easy to enable this card, right? I mean, you probably also want something to do with the 1/1s other than just having this. Maybe that's good enough, though. I don't know. That could be quite strong.
Let's see also a spirit, 1 and a black. It's a star and star +1, so it's basically like a Tarmogoyf. And as an additional cost to cast the spell, you discard a card or sack a permanent. So it's like...
Okay, that's not a great start.
And then it's... The X is equal to the number of permanent in your graveyard. And the power is equal to the permanent in your graveyard, and the toughness is equal to that number +1. Okay.
Well, this might be the first card that we looked at that I think is just not very good, but if there's some way to make...
Fetch lands, I'm thinking.
Yeah, but you still have to discard a card or sacrifice a permanent to put this into play.
Oh, right.
I don't care how big it is. It has to be absolutely enormous very quickly, and it's only going to be huge late game, right? Which is, kind of defeats the purpose of it being a cheap creature. But maybe there'll be some decks where discarding a card or sacrifice a permanent ends up being an upside. But I'm gonna say this is the first card where I think this is just clearly not good, which is kind of impressive because we're quite a few cards in.
Yeah.
This blue artifact I like a lot.
Okay, so we have a Wow, look at this. Look at the picture. It's crazy. It's like
The
a
art is
waterfalls
nice,
with the
right?
face of it.
I
Of
really
a
like the art.
lizard.
Yeah.
Or a
But the
snake.
text. I also
Alright,
love
so
the text.
the ever-flowing well. 2 and a blue, legendary artifact. When it comes into play, you mill 2 cards and you draw 2 cards. So this is just a divination on ATB.
Right.
And then, at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanents in your graveyard, you transform it. You transform it into a blue land that says whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by the Myriad of Pools, so by this card, up to 1 target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until end of turn. Okay, so this is assuming you load your deck with just permanents, right?
Well, maybe, but I just don't care about any of that. I think it's just an artifact that has a divination trigger. Like it's the same thing I was talking about with the Spring Blades, but this is like,
and you can copy it.
Yeah, you can copy this, or you can. Well, you probably don't want to copy it. You
more
want to
time-
blink it. Sorry,
And the
like yeah,
yeah, the more time you copy it, or blink it, the more you mill yourself. So
Yeah,
you get
and
to
enable it.
mirror the pools.
and the landslide
then-
seems reasonably powerful. You can kind of think of it as giving something haste, but it's a little complicated. I'm not sure what to make of the landslide. I just don't think the landslide is very important. I think the main thing is that, again, it being a game object is a really big deal. So, I think this is probably quite a lot stronger than a divination, just because you can do stuff with the artifact. All those things that copied artifacts like Sahili would be awesome with this. Or Abuelo, who, blinks this. I'm sure there's stuff we can do with this that would be good.
Yeah. And it might just be it. I think we've covered
Most of the cards, yeah.
all the cards.
There's probably others,
previewed.
because we're really doing this raw, but man, the art in this is kind of dope. I love this. I love bright colors.
Yeah.
I don't like the gloomy sets like Innistrad, where everything is just all dark colors and like bones and skeletons and stuff. I love the bright colors, the happier tones on the cards, and I'm vibing with this set. This is nice. Yeah, love it.
All right. So I hope that the listeners enjoyed our kind of improvised subject today. Again, we started with a more classic, the Carney's analysis of what happened past weekend, but we ended up talking about this topic instead.
I mean, it was cool.
What are you guys gonna do this weekend? Are you gonna play the Arena Open? I heard there's a sealed Wilds of a Drain Arena.
Yeah,
Open.
sure. Why not? I'll be following very closely the Australian Regional Championship, which is happening this weekend.
Right.
So naturally, there are a bunch of people that I
Yeah.
hope will do well. Not least Zen Takahashi, our good friend. So
Yeah,
best of luck to
Zenny.
Zen. No pressure, except that I will never talk to you again if you don't win. So, try to win.
Yeah.
So
He said he was going to come to Chicago regardless because of how much fun he had in Vegas, and then last week he said, "No, I'm not coming if I don't qualify." So a lot of pressure now.
Good. Pressure builds diamonds. I think that's a saying, right? That's a saying. Yeah. So good luck to all those people competing in that RC. I'll be excited to watch what happens there. And yeah, there's the Arena Open as well. I like this limited format quite a lot, so that'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go to Venice this weekend because basically when I wasn't qualified for the RC, I pre-registered for 3 events: my RCQ, the LMS Sofia, and this RC I'm going next week. So I qualified twice already to the RC. Let's see if I actually this RCQ on Saturday is gonna be capped at 60 people. So it's gonna be a cool modern.
It's a love of the game.
Event. And then. Yeah, and then on Sunday I have a team event, Modern Pioneer Pauper, and I've been chosen for the Pauper seat.
Oh,
I'll be playing.
Right.
I'll be playing some Pauper. But yeah, I'll also be in Venice, so that's a pretty nice place. I'll be at a friend's home, and gonna have a good weekend traveling.
Do you cut a land when you play tournaments in Venice? Because it seems like you're more likely to get flooded. So
No, you see, they made this technology like last year or maybe 2 years ago that basically like they kind of pick up a barrier at some point in the sea, and it's not apparently Venice isn't flooding anymore ever
Oh,
since.
really? Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. It's true. Actually, I'm not making it up. It's called Mose,
Oh, okay.
which is actually the biblical name of the yeah. So
Oh,
you have
like
this like
Moses
this
parting
bar.
the. Oh, I see. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, this bar that like lifts. Apparently, I mean I don't know the people from. I'll definitely ask about it this weekend.
Okay.
That is. All right, guys. How about we wrap it up?
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Javier picks his its thumbs up. I hope it's all good over there. He had some Javier. Let's say it was very problematic having Javier in the podcast today, but now it's all good. It's just mimicking everything, but it's fine. It's all good. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We'll see you all next week. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you all for listening. Oh, 1 second. Before we leave, we have to thank our new Patreon. We have Hauxiang, Jace, Scott, and Boba Chow. You guys, thank you so much for supporting,
Thank you
joining
very
the
much for your support.
Discord, sharing all the deck pictures. I love to see the deck pictures. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, cheers.